Hello viewers, I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stand before you with the topic Role of State in the Era of Globalization. In the era of globalization, in the period of globalization, what is the role of state? What role state plays? It is found in +3 second semester Political Science General Elective paper, +3 second semester Political Science General Elective paper, and the name of the paper is Governance, Issues and Challenges. But before I discuss role of state in the present era of globalization, I want to inform my viewers that name of my channel is at the rate Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. If you search this channel in YouTube or Google, you'll get more than 600 videos relating to +3 first semester Political Science Honours up to +3 sixth semester Political Science Honours, videos of ethics and values from +3 first semester to fourth semester, Political Science General Elective of +3 first semester to second semester, videos of environmental studies of +3 first semester, and political science videos of +2 first year to +2 second year. Any video you want, just write the name of the paper and topic in YouTube. You'll get semester wise, year wise videos. Let us start. Role of state in the era of globalization. Today is a era of globalization. So in the era of globalization, what role state plays? Let us start. World is a dynamic world. Everything is changing in this world. Role of state is not an exception. Role of state is also changing. In pre-globalization period, the role of state was something different, but during globalization period, the state is playing a different roles mentioned below. The world is a dynamic world. Everything is changing in this world now and then. From this process, role of state is not an exception. Prior to globalization, state had a different type of role, and in the period of globalization, now state plays a different type of role. In this video, we'll discuss what roles state play in the period of globalization. Number one, role of state in the era of globalization. Number one, state acts as a mediator and not as a regulator. In the period of globalization, state acts as a mediator, not a regulator. How? Prior to globalization, state was acting as a regulator, because prior to globalization, in almost all states, there were public undertakings, government hospitals, government educational institutions, government financial institutions, including bank, insurance companies, etc. But so state was regulating and giving them instructions. But after globalization, during the period of globalization, in place of government institutions, private undertakings have come up, like private education institutions, private banking services, private insurance companies, etc., including MNCs, multinational corporations, TNC, transnational corporations. So, state has no power to give them command, rather state only mediates their disputes. So in the period of globalization, state acts as a mediator, not as a regulator. So in the period of globalization, state acts as a mediator, not a regulator. It means Prior to globalization, there were government companies, government hospitals, government education institutions, government transport system, government banking services. So, prior to globalization is everything is of government. State was commanding them and state was regulating their activities. But in the period of globalization, in place of government organizations, private organizations have come up. Private education institutions, private companies, including multinational corporations, MNC, transnational corporation, TNC, and private transport system. So, during the period of globalization, as private companies have come up, state has no hold over them. State now is not commanding them. State is not giving instructions to them. State is not regulating their activities. Rather, all this work the state is performing is mediating their disputes. If there will be disputes among these private companies, it is the duty of the state to mediate. So, prior to globalization, state was functioning as a regulator, and during globalization, state is functioning as mediator only. So, the first role during globalization is that state is working as a mediator, not a regulator. State acts as mediator, not as regulator. Number two, state has been deprived from the power of fixing prices. Before globalization, there was command economy. During that time, state had the power to fix prices of goods. Demand and supply of commodities had no role in fixation of prices. But after globalization, there is market economy. In this economy, prices are determined by demand of goods and supply of goods. So, state has been deprived from the power of fixing the prices. So, another role of state during globalization is that state has been deprived from the power of fixing prices. Prior to globalization, state was fixing prices of all commodities. Demand of goods, supply of goods had no role at that time. But during the period of globalization, prices are determined by supply of goods and demand for goods. If there will be more supply of goods, less demand, prices will come down. If there will be less supply, more demand, prices will move up. So, prior to globalization, state was fixing the price, but during the period of globalization, state was not fixing the price of commodities. Rather, demand of goods, supply of goods are determining the price of goods. So, prior to globalization, there was command economy. State was commanding everything. It was fixing the price. But during globalization, there is market economy. Prices are auto-controlled. Prices are being controlled by demand of goods and supply of goods. Number three, state exercises limited economic power. In globalization, state is exercising a limited economic power. How? Prior to globalization, there were public undertakings like government company, government financial institutions, government hospitals, etc. So state was exercising a lot of economic powers. But with the emergence of globalization, private companies start to operate, on whom state has a limited economic power to control. So due to globalization, economic power of state have been reduced to a considerable extent. So during the period of globalization, the state exercises a limited economic power. How? Because prior to globalization, There were government companies, government education institutions, government financial institutions, government transport system. So state had wide economic powers. But during globalization, private companies have come up, private transport system, private banking service, private education institution, private hospitals. On whom state has a limited economic control. So, during globalization, the economic power of state has been reduced to a considerable extent. This is the third role of state in the era of globalization. Fourth one, state has become a police state. Prior to globalization, state had varieties of functions like social, economic functions, including police functions like protection of the people, protection of life, liberty, property of people. But after globalization, state is left only with police function and become a police state. During globalization, state has become police state. How? Prior to globalization, state was carrying out a lot of functions, social function, economic functions, police functions. Police function means protection of life, liberty of property people, protection of people from external aggression, protection of people from internal disturbances. So prior to globalization, state was carrying out a lot of functions including social function, economic functions, police functions. But during the period of globalization, the social and economic functions of state have been reduced to a considerable extent, and state is left only with the police function. It only protects life, liberty of people, protect people from external aggression, protect people from internal disturbances. So, during globalization, state has become a police state. Fifth one, apathetic of state towards social welfare. Apathetic of state towards social welfare. It means state shows no interest for social welfare or development of people. Why? Prior to globalization, people were loyal to state because state was giving every type of service to them like education, medical transport, postal, etc. But after globalization, these services are given by non-governmental organizations. So people show their loyalty to them. So observing these type of attitudes from people, states show apathetic attitudes towards social welfare. The fifth role of state during the period of globalization is that state shows apathetic attitudes, means showing no interest towards social welfare. Why? Prior to globalization, state was giving all type of services to people, postal service, transport service, hospital service, education service, providing them different type of utility service. So people are loyal to state. But during globalization, these services, transport service, postal service, education service, hospital service, insurance service, banking service are given by non-governmental organizations. So people are showing their loyalty to non-governmental organizations in place of giving loyalty to the state, because non-governmental organizations are giving them all the services. So observing this type of attitudes from people, the state, so observing these type of attitudes of people, that they are showing loyalty to the non-governmental organization in place of state has started to show a pathetic attitude towards social welfare functions. Finally, conversion of state from strong to weak state. Prior to globalization, before globalization, state was strong state with enormous powers. But after globalization, there is limited restrictions on trade, foreign collaboration, foreign investment, movement of people. So state has become a weak state during the period of globalization. Prior to globalization, state was very strong. It has full control over trade, full control on movement of people, full control on business. So state was very strong. But during the period of globalization, there is a limited restrictions on trade, movement of people, and different type of foreign collaborations. So prior to globalization, state was strong. It has full power on foreign collaborations, business, trade, everything. But during the period of globalization, state has a limited control on foreign collaborations, transfer of technologies, movement of people, import and export. So state has become a weak state. So prior to globalization, state was strong, but during the period of globalization, state has become weak. So in this video, we discussed role of state in the present age of globalization. I request my viewers to subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed. Aware of your friends about this channel, so some students will be benefited. Remember, a little help to anybody is a service to people. A service to people is service to God. Thank you. Have a very nice day.